Coming up on Center Circle, a reflection on the West and a look to the future as VMBS continues to build a foundation in St. James. The boys have been separated from the men. RSPL down to its final two. And if you forgot how last season's final ended, we take you a year back. It's often said that the West is not short of talent, but at least not in St. James, which runs the most meaningful youth competition of all the 4 parishes from that region. The major youth competition in the parish is the VMBS Foundation Under 13 League, from which many talents were unearthed. But there is no stopping the talent from migrating for one reason or another. Recently, the West got a blow when their 2 representatives, FC Reno and Montego Bay United, were relegated from the Premier League. And if they fail to qualify a team through the playoffs, it means that for the first time since 1983, there'll be no representative from the West. Wendell Downswell is the National Director of Football and also a director at Reno.
It's sad. It's heartrending. It's really tough. It's really a tough one, for the West. For 2 teams in the West to go down at the same time. And that has never happened in the history of Jamaica's football. So it's really a sad day for the West. Our intention is that, as quickly as possible, we have to try now and get back and hoping that the 2 teams who are going into the playoffs and the team that will be representing us in the playoffs will be able to qualify, and try to give us a ray of hope as it relates to the West itself. If that doesn't happen, well, we have to now look at strategic planning as to how we will get back in the Premier League, because that is of utmost importance to the Western region itself as it relates to football. Well, they have limited resources in terms of, because if you look, especially Westmoreland, if you look, we don't get that level of sort of sponsorship from the corporate entities within the Westmoreland region, and that is really a big major setback. If you look at it when compared to the corporate era, the level of support that they have gotten when compared to us. But despite that, we will have to now look at some strategic planning going forward as it relates to the club. Our youth program now in the Western region, and especially a competition of this magnitude, it speaks volume for the future itself. And once we are able to expose the youngsters at this tender age, get them with the best practices, provide the coaches in terms of coach education to ensure that their competence improve going forward, I think that would be an excellent platform for us going forward.
David Watt, a former president of the St. James FA, would have seen better days.
You have stumped me, basically, because I am totally disappointed also with the performance of the 2 Western teams. But we look forward to develop a program so that we can, the Confed program is going well, and as I said before, my objective now is to ensure that we can get the 2 teams from this competition back into the Premier League to substitute for the 2 that came out.
And what are some of the limitations that actually cause Western football to actually nosedive?
But basically it shouldn't be limitations because Mobe United have a good field. They possibly went through a period of in terms of administration, but I'm not convinced that there are limitations for the team like Mobe United. I think there are some administrative difficulties that associated the dropout.
Hopeton Gilchrist has been entrusted with the head coaching duty at the national under-17 level. He believes the lack of proper sponsorship has affected the West.
Our sponsorship so far is not so bad, but you would like for more people to be involved. The most important thing though is lacking in fields, number of fields. If you realize this is possibly the only field that we really have to work with, and a number of teams have used this field in the evening to train. We need improvement in terms of the football and the organization of the clubs themselves. And generally how the communities are operating now in terms of crime and violence. So we want to rid ourselves of crime and violence for us to get more involved in community football. But once that is not happening, the community football cannot happen, because the safety of people, our teams, our patrons, it comes first.
Peter Hurge is responsible for the development of youth players at Granville Primary, a role which he thinks is lacking at the parish level.
I think the emphasis is more on the senior players and not the grassroots. And I believe that if we tackle the football from the grassroots level, we will see a big difference in the future, because we have a lot of talent. Great talent here in St. James, in Montego Bay. But I don't think we spend enough time in the grassroots level to develop these talent that we have. Most of the clubs that we have in Montego Bay, they don't have youth teams. And they have senior teams, and they spend more time in the summer when we have the summer league for kids. You hardly can find 10 under 13 team or maybe 10 under 16 or under 15 or under 17 teams. We don't the clubs, and they complain that they don't have the resources, the money, and that is the greatest problem that we face right here. So I believe that if even the business people think more about development and help towards these younger kids, to help them, to guide them in the right way and to guide them to develop them the right way, then we will have a better future. We have a program by the name of Youth in Action, and we have been trying to set our academy for many years, and financially the resource wasn't there, and there was 2 times when we see ourselves moving forward, and because we didn't have a football field, it set us back.
The association that has to do with the football here, how integral are they actually in youth development?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. They try to put youth competition in the summer, and for the past 5 or 6 years, they only have under 17 and under 20, because they say that they don't get enough sponsor to sponsor the under 15 and the under 30, and I believe that's bad.
Mark Williams is a coach at Anchovy Primary School.
I think that as time goes on, I think the last couple of years I can say it's becoming stable in St. James, but recently, probably about 5 or to a decade ago, it wasn't so stable. But I think gradually as time is going on, it is becoming very, in St. James, things are really becoming better with the youth football development here in St. James, because we have some very good coaches like Mr. Gilchrist, Mr. Lee, very good coaches here from St. James. So with those coaches, the youth development will improve.
We have good coaches, but resources is one part of the issue. So are you struggling with that as a coach, not just for the under 13, but as a coach overall?
No doubt. Most coaches, especially being at a primary school, resources are limited. Sometimes we don't have the field space or goals and enough balls most times, but as a coach, that is why I can say many good coaches are here in St. James, because we know how to compromise.
So it's all down to the goose that lays the golden egg. VMBS Foundation.
This is for 29 years, and to be engaged at the youth level for 20, because there's not much mileage that you get at the youth level. That shows the vision and the foresight on the part of VMBS and its foundation to be investing in a competition of this magnitude for 29 consecutive years. It speaks volume for their commitment to youth development itself, and I must say it's a step in the right direction. This is where it all started. It starts in St. James, with the youngsters develop the passion, the will, the commitment and the conviction to go forward, and most importantly, to realize their dreams, goals and aspirations. Just imagine if we have other companies serving the respective parishes, the other 4 parishes in the western region, with a competition of this magnitude that lays the foundation from the grassroots level. That speaks volume for football itself, especially at the youth level. The high schools and others would benefit tremendously, and for those youngsters now matriculating, going into the respective clubs.
People like VMBS, we welcome them every time, and we want more entities like VMBS to come on board for us to have more youth programs, you know, because you have seen what happens today, a number of schools that turn up in this competition. You have over 700 students who are involved. If we can have that going right throughout the year, that spells a lot for us in terms of the development and to allow the kids more opportunity to enhance their talents.
Most of the kids, when they look forward for the VMBS, and it has been a great one over the years. I put my hat up to the VMBS people. It is the #1 competition for the youth in Montego Bay, but I personally believe that they need more time. We have 32 teams in the competition. Most of the teams play like 3 games or 4 games, and that's it.
Nakita West is the manager at VMBS Foundation.
The theme is mutual goals, and it really is an appropriate theme because we want to tell the community of St. James, of Montego Bay, that we are here, we are invested in this community. This football competition, as seemingly simple as it looks, is preparing our nation for better. It's preparing Montego Bay, our children. We're engaging them in this activity, something structured to teach them teamwork, discipline, how they must work together, set goals. So, you know, we believe that in order for us to really develop our players, we have to develop our coaches. And yes, we're starting with a workshop. We want that workshop to really teach the coaches or help to enhance the skills that the coaches have to help to build our team players. It is not just a pocket change. We're hoping to take it further. It's the start. We're piloting it this year, and it's the start. And we're looking to see how we can make it bigger and how we can really impact the lives of the student players.
Some people will ask, Nakita, why not other parishes? Why St. James?
Well, you know, we would like to go to other parishes. We really would. And, you know, you never know what's in the future.
Still to come on Centre Circle, Portmore United and Waterhouse to decide Premier League Championship again. And the game Waterhouse will want to forget.